Well, this should be interesting. So this cast iron manifold is unattaining. The car that it's off has very limited space in the engine bay, and basically they need this one repaired. The guy tried with a MIG welder unsuccessfully, and I'm about to try unsuccessfully with a TIG welder with silicon bronze rods. And things just get out of hand from there. But there are a few basic rules for a successful cast iron repair. One, get the part clean and get it saturated with heat. You do not want to introduce a thermal shock. If the part is cold and you just go straight to welding it, you are going to create more cracks and fractures because of the rapid change of temperature. So the oil burner is doing a great job at getting the part hot. The next thing is select the right filler rod. Now, that's all I have. Oh, and this is the only flux I have too. So, yeah, let's bumble our way through this and see if I can get away with doing an oxyacetylene braze repair with everything wrong. So what do I mean by everything wrong? Borax powder is used for forge welding. That's like blacksmithing stuff. That's the only reason I'm giving it a go. I know it works for that. Have never tried it with oxyacetylene. Who knows, maybe it was commonplace at a certain point, but I've never seen it done or heard of it being done. So this is all kind of a big experiment. And the flux itself actually did a really good job. It left behind like a crazy hard glass-like residue, almost like slag, that I had to chip off at the end. But as long as I was using plenty of it, the silicon bronze filler wire totally bonded to the cast iron. And that's the other complete unknown, these silicon bronze filler rods. I've never seen them used with oxyacetylene, but it's all I had. So the two work together reasonably well. I'm not saying this is the correct technique or thing to do. It's just me in a bind trying to work out a solution. And in this case, I think I just got lucky. I did in fact do a little bit of research before starting this repair to see if anybody else had used a silicon bronze filler rod with oxyacetylene. And I couldn't find anybody. So this could be a first, maybe. Let me know if you've seen anybody else try this anyway. I can't be the first mug that's ever attempted this in front of a camera. And if you're wondering, silicon bronze filler rods are usually used with TIG welding. You can get MIG silicon bronze, but for the most part, it's a TIG welding rod. The reason it's hard to weld cast iron is because the material is actually very stable, in that it doesn't like to move much. It's very brittle, it's very stiff, and that's why it's great for something like an engine block. It's hard wearing and it can cope with a lot of heat, but it does not like localized heat. If you're going to heat it up, you need to heat the whole thing up. That's why just trying to like MIG weld this or just TIG weld it cold will nearly guarantee a failed repair. It might look good for a couple of minutes, and then as it starts to cool, you'll hear a ping and a crack, and sure enough, it will usually have split whatever you've done right down the guts of it. And yeah, it's a pain. So the oil burner is actually really helping me out for this repair, keeping the whole part just saturated with heat, lots of heat. And so the extra heat that I'm adding there with the acetylene torch is it's not making massive changes to the overall thermal state of the part, if that makes sense. There is for sure too much material that I've put on there with the silicon bronze, but it's better to have too much than not enough. If I was to go a little bit lighter on the silicon bronze and then when I start cleaning it up, I end up with a void or a low spot that the gasket's not going to seal against, that's way more annoying than having to grind off a bit more material, if that makes sense. So always better to put more on than what you think you need, because you'd be very surprised how often that little bit extra ends up being just the right amount. So the grinder is going to remove the bulk of the material, and what comes next is a bit of good old-fashioned filing. This is what's going to actually get the part flat, and I'll be honest, I was really scared while I was grinding it that I was just going to go too far and again leave a void, because that would mean I'd have to get the whole part hot again over the oil heater, and just it would have added hours of work. So I ended up sort of stopping probably a little bit too soon with the grinder and started on the file work, but at the end of the day I played it safe. I'm starting to get close to where I need to be, but I've still got a little way to go, and I figured a little bit of tape on that face would prevent it from getting unwantedly filed, defiled if you will. As I look at this footage actually while I'm editing it, I realized I really could have changed directions with the file strokes, and what that does is sort of highlights exactly where you're cutting with each stroke. Just going in the same direction worked, but it is good to sort of mix it up a bit, and a file card helps to stop the file from sort of clogging up. It needed the odd brush to sort of clean it out, to keep it running efficiently. Now, I'm no click spring, so I don't think you really want to see every single stroke of the file, so I'll just speed this up a bit now. So after thoroughly defiling that part, I noticed that there was a slight low spot on that bolt hole in the flange. That particular flange actually was significantly lower than the rest of them, and I have a sneaking suspicion that that was probably why the part cracked and failed in the first place. I'd like them to take it back and do a test fit before I keep going. I'm fairly confident nothing has moved, but I would like that to happen before I continue. So basically now things just need to be cleaned up everywhere else to just make the part look presentable. And that's pretty much it for this repair. If all goes well, the part should work. If not, I'll add a bit more bronze to it and we'll get everything up to level, but I just want to see what's going on before I keep going. As far as this job is concerned, the silicon bronze and the borax powder, fantastic. I couldn't have asked for a better result. As far as the casting is concerned, I have a feeling I'm going to be seeing it again soon. But anyway, that might be another video. Well, I guess that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.